Hello, my name is Katarina Kontaxis. I am a Canadian immigration consultant at KISS Migration. Today I will show you how to complete the form Application to Sponsor IMM 1344. This video is meant to help do-it-yourself clients and students in preparing the overseas family sponsorship cases. Generally, you could start reading the basic guide to get an overview. However, the complete guide offers the most helpful details. Keep in mind that the glossary defines the legal terms in plain English. Whenever in doubt, look up the meaning of the word before filling out the form. Finally, you should consult the fee list to find out the current processing fees before making a payment plan. This video tutorial explains the most confusing sections of the form Application to Sponsor, Sponsorship Agreement, and Undertaking, IMM 1344, version June 2019. Generally, IRCC updates its application forms frequently. To check whether you are using the current version, you must compare the version of your form with the form available on IRCC's website before submitting your application. At the time of recording, the form dated June 2019. Prospects tend to ignore the importance of the choices when found ineligible to sponsor, as the guides do not provide any information on Part 1, Question 1 of the form. In brief, the process of family sponsorship consists of two steps. The first step is the sponsorship application, where the prospect applies to sponsor a family member and pays the sponsorship fee of $75 Canadian. The second step is the PR application, where the foreigner applies for permanent residence as a member of the family class and pays the principal applicant processing fee of $475 Canadian and the right of permanent residence fee of $490 Canadian. To speed up the processing time, the sponsor and the sponsored person are best advised to pay the fees before submitting the applications. IRCC may find the sponsor ineligible for one of the following reasons: failure to meet minimum necessary income, criminality, misrepresentation, default with previous undertaking, or sponsorship bars. If the sponsorship application was rejected, then the application for permanent residence will also fail unless sufficient humanitarian and compassionate considerations exist. IRCC allows the sponsor to withdraw its sponsorship application. If the sponsor withdraws, then all the processing fees except the sponsorship fee will be refunded. But the sponsor loses the right to appeal to the Immigration Appeal Division as the file was closed. One must consider several questions before deciding which box to check. Does the sponsor want to appeal? What is the likelihood of success on appeal? Is the sponsor prepared to cover the cost? Would it be simpler to start over? Which option would be faster? The sponsor should discuss these questions with an immigration professional before completing the form. When the guides remain silent on how to deal with Part 1, Question 1 on the IMM 1344, we have to look at operational instructions and guidelines. In particular, we're going to look at the IP2, Inland Processing Manual, Chapter number 2, Processing Applications to Sponsor Members of the Family Class. There we're clicking on Spouses and Common Law Partners and assessing the sponsor. Here we're interested in sponsorship withdrawal. So the sponsors have the choice, either to withdraw the sponsorship application or to allow IRCC to continue with the assessment. A family sponsorship case can be closed by the Case Processing Center without a final decision being made on the application for PR when one of the following occurs. We only care about the first option. The sponsor is found to be ineligible to be a sponsor and indicated in Part 1, Question 1 of the IMM 1344 that their choice was to withdraw. So the Case Processing Center must enter the information in the electronic system stating that the case has been closed. When no decision has been made regarding issuance of a permanent residence visa, the sponsor has no right of appeal. Now we have to confirm with statutory law that this is applicable. So we look first in the Act at subsection 11(2). If sponsor does not meet requirements, the officer may not issue a visa or other document to a foreign national whose sponsor does not meet the sponsorship requirements of this Act. We'll find more details in the regulations. So under section 119 of the regulations, the withdrawal of a sponsorship application. A decision shall not be made on an application for a permanent resident visa by a member of the family class if the sponsor withdraws their sponsorship application in respect of that member. Later on, you're going to look into case law. I picked the decision Paykin versus Canada by the Immigration Refugee Board, in particular the Immigration Appeal Division, to show you the appeal rights. In this case, the sponsor was trying to sponsor mother and the mother's husband, and the sponsorship undertaking was submitted to the Case Processing Center in Mississauga, which issued a letter to the appellant that she was found not to be eligible as a sponsor. The appellant had indicated that the sponsorship application that she wished to withdraw the application if found ineligible. Accordingly, following the negative decision of the sponsorship application, it was withdrawn and no further action was taken. The appellant filed a notice of appeal. Here is the decision. For the reasons that follow, the panel finds that no jurisdiction to consider this appeal. We already looked at section 119 of the regulations. You can find it here. A decision shall not be made on an application for a permanent resident visa by a member of the family class if the sponsor withdraws their sponsorship application in respect of that member. Now let's look at the appeal rights. Under section 63, subsection 1 of the Act, a person who has filed in prescribed manner an application to sponsor foreign national as a member of the family class may appeal to the Immigration Appeal Division against the decision not to issue the foreign national a permanent resident visa. So, quite obviously, one has to have a sponsor first. As soon as it's withdrawn, there is no sponsor available any longer. The file is closed. No appeal rights exist. Then we find a different decision called Canteros versus Canada, also from the IID. This decision dates back to 2011. Here we're looking at a sponsorship of parents and a brother from Argentina. The appellant's father's application for a permanent resident visa was refused by a visa officer at the Embassy of Canada in Buenos Aires. The visa officer found that the appellant did not have the total income that it is at least equal to the minimum necessary income, as required by the regulations. The decision here is important. Paragraph 6. However, the panel also finds that in particular circumstances of the case, and taking into account that the best interests of the children directly affected by the decision, there exists sufficient humanitarian and compassionate considerations that warrant special relief, and the appeal was therefore allowed. Other sections of this form that require our attention is, for example, Part 1, Question 3. Is there a co-signer on this application? Co-signer must be the spouse or common law partner of the sponsor. No or yes. Keep in mind that when the sponsors are sponsoring their own spouses or partners, the answer here is no. When entering names in the forms, always put in the name as written in the passports or travel documents. That's very important. And make sure the spelling is correct. Regarding the place of birth, same here. Keep in mind they want city and town as spelled in the passport. Regarding the status in Canada, we have here 4 options. Some people are not familiar with the term Canadian citizen by descent. It basically means that someone is a Canadian because that person was born to a Canadian, so the connection is bloodline. Canadian citizen by birth, there the Canadian is born in Canada, so the connection is the place of birth. And naturalized Canadian citizen basically means that someone became a Canadian citizen through the formal process by the law. The UCI sometimes causes challenges. Here, UCI or client ID. UCI means unique client identifier, and it's basically a number of 8 or 10 digits that is given by the government of Canada. If you don't have one, that's fine, just leave it blank. To give you an idea of what the client ID number looks like, here you can find on IRCC's website a specimen of the permanent resident card, and you see here it has 4 digits hyphen and 4 digits, which is still the old version as opposed to the 10 digit. You can also find a specimen on CBSA's website. Here you see it's 4 digits hyphen 4 digits, and the same here. Under question 8, the current marital status is required. Here it's important to keep in mind that single means never married, and legally separated means that they're still married but they live apart. The next part is the contact information. Current mailing address. If you decide to have an immigration professional, then in this section they will put their mailing address and your residential address, your home address, under number 2. Otherwise, you put your mailing address as the residential address together here, and then you just see same as mailing address, yes. For the students, keep in mind that the rep has to put the email address here and at the IMM 546 user representative. The sponsor residency declaration. Only Canadian citizens living outside Canada are allowed to sponsor. After the form is completed, it is important to validate it. For that, you have to click on the button Validate. Here, it worked successfully. All the required fields have been completed. So now it's going to generate the barcode on the last page, which looks like that. It is important that you always double check your forms after they have been printed so that only the right information is going to leave your office. To complete this video tutorial, I refer you to the complete guide under steps 3, fill out the forms, for any further information that you might require. If you liked this video, please subscribe and spread the word. Thanks. Bye.